Here we go, here we go, here we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Moron back. Oh, John boy, hell. First of all, man, I got to shout out my new subs. Gotta be two, at least three that come in. And man, I hope y'all stay and we come together and grow as a team, man, and let's start doing some stuff. Maybe y'all can start interacting a little more on these lives when y'all do catch me. I'm loving it, man. It just puts me on cloud nine. um, also, I know I look like hell. I ain't shaved, and this ain't the video I wanted to do. I'm gonna do another one tonight. This is just something that popped up, so when y'all see me tonight, I'll look different. I bet you 100 that I ain't got. But anyway, yeah, man, them subs, man, I went to bed smiling and woke up even happier. Man, I'm so humbled for that stuff, man, them subs and getting that content and likes and all, man, it's humbling to me. I can't believe it, man, but it just brings me such joy. It's all God, man. I think He's working in my favor, man. And I hope He's working on you guys, man. I hope y'all having a great time and doing well, doing the best you can. You know, that's all we can do nowadays. Just do the best you can. That's really all. That's all you can do. But man, I sure appreciate the support, and man, I hope I keep getting more subs. I want to get monetized and open all this YouTube stuff up where I have full access to everything. I don't know what that's like. Seems like it's gonna take forever, but I don't know. But I love my, what is it, 131 now? Yeah, we got us a little crew, a little channel. I'm ready to start knowing you guys, man. Come on in and talk at me. But anyway, enough of me being a boohoo crybaby. I'll tell you, this is about the Battle of LZ Albany, which happened directly after the Drang Valley. Nobody talks about this really or knows much about it unless they were there. But it was pretty horrific and stunk down. And it happened, I mean, immediately. So here we go. We're going to dive off into it. Shouldn't be too long. About a 20-minute video. Like I said, I'm doing one tonight on Dakota Meyer. I love that kid, man. I love that man. I love that Marine right there in Dakota. I don't know why. You know, you just have some guys that you just love them and you don't know why. Well, he's one. I love this Marine coming up tonight. He was in the Battle of Gonzaga. Yeah, it was brutal. I mean, he tough son of a gun, boy. Got a hell of a story. We're going to do that tonight with Ritalin. So we're going to get deep into it. I mean, deep into it. So let's go on and knock this out, and then we'll do one tonight, too. Here we go.
As dawn broke on November 17th, 1965, an eerie calm descended upon the Central Highlands, a deceptive stillness that belied the storm that was about to erupt. Having weathered the unrestrained battle at LZ Xray, the soldiers of the 1st Cavalry Division, Air Mobile, believed the worst was behind them. Amidst the rustling leaves and the distant calls of exotic birds, a column of soldiers were patrolling the forest. Their steps, though cautious, carried an air of carelessness, a sense of relaxation after the horrors they had just experienced. However, with every step taken, they unknowingly inched closer to an unseen ambush. The seemingly tranquil jungle was, in reality, a labyrinth of shadows and silent enemies ready to spring their deadly trap. The North Vietnamese forces, undeterred by heavy losses at LZ Xray, were prepared to strike once more. Their target, Landing Zone Albany. And so, in the dense jungles of the Drang Valley, another chapter of the gruesome battle is about to be written, darker, grimmer, and bloodier than what had gone before.
Stop letting them increase your rates. I used to let them raise my car insurance every year until I found this.
The column that departed Xray on the morning of 17th of November comprised Colonel Tully's 2nd Battalion of the 5th Cavalry.
I've never seen that right there. Look at the T-Pone Mountain, LZ Xray, right in here, battling Columbus, and then Albany was here. It probably wasn't too far away. Oh, man.
With Colonel McDade's 2nd Battalion of the 7th Cavalry. Tully's battalion led the way, setting their course northeast towards Landing Zone Columbus. Meanwhile, McDade's battalion, accompanied by Captain George G. Forrest's Alpha Company, 1st Battalion of the 5th Cavalry, moved towards their destination, Landing Zone Albany. By 1100, after covering around 3 kilometers, Tully's battalion detached, proceeding east to Columbus, where a warm meal awaited them. McDade's forces, however, continued northwest, Albany being still 2 kilometers distant. Despite Tully's offer of protective marching fire, McDade declined, wary of revealing his battalion's position. Inexperience marred the march to Albany. Colonel McDade, relatively new in command, delegated tactical decisions to his officers. Some, like the commanders of Companies Charlie and Delta, became complacent during the journey, their units eventually dropping tactical formations. Captain Thorpe of Delta Company described the march as a mere walk in the sun. With such laxity, especially in an enemy-dominated terrain, men were calling for trouble. By midday, as the leading Alpha Company neared LZ Albany, an unexpected incident slowed their progress. The reconnaissance platoon from Delta Company, led by 2nd Lieutenant David Payne, captured 2 North Vietnamese deserters. Even though the interrogation yielded no strategic insights, the brief pause allowed many of McDade's exhausted...
Look at them little bitty suckers, man. Look how tiny they are. Those little guys here. And I mean, they will fight like hell off a handful of rice a day. Never quit. That's crazy.
Men to rest, with some even drifting to sleep. Once the interrogation concluded, the battalion resumed its movement toward Albany. It was 1307 when Payne's reconnaissance platoon, along with segments of Captain Sugdinis's Alpha Company, had arrived at Albany. They swiftly established positions to secure the area for the battalion's remaining forces. LZ Albany had an irregular square, a central grove, and a nearby clearing suitable for helicopters. However, before fully occupying the LZ, Colonel McDade gathered his company commanders for a briefing on positioning their troops within the landing zone. Captains Forrest, Thorpe, and Fesmeyer heeded the call. Amidst this, Captain Forrest, alarmed by the relaxed demeanor of the troops he passed, ordered heightened vigilance. The apparent casualness of their approach to the LZ hinted at a dangerous underestimation of the potential threats lurking nearby. It was as if he foreboded the terror that was about to befall them. Post the Xray clash, the North Vietnamese, despite heavy losses, remained undeterred in their resolve to challenge the 1st Cavalry Division. General Mann, with his available B-3 front units, was determined to engage them again. He had the 66th Regiment's 8th Battalion, a company from the 33rd Regiment's 1st Battalion, and the 33rd's 3rd Battalion's headquarters unit ready for combat. On the morning of November 17th, he directed the 8th Battalion to regroup and prepare for a potential large-scale encounter. By midday, based on crucial intelligence of the Americans' imminent approach, Colonel Ahn commanded the 8th Battalion to initiate an attack. Battalion Commander LZ Foy promptly set up an L-shaped ambush near the clearing, which seemed to be the Americans' target. The soldiers already in place formed the vertical arm of the L, while the 1st Battalion's company formed the base. This strategic positioning ensured the ambush would be directly in the path of McDade's approaching column. To reinforce the ambush's potency, Foy enlisted the aid of auxiliary staff, including cooks, clerks, and even porters. The North Vietnamese were meticulously prepared, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. The ambush was a masterstroke in its simplicity and ruthlessness. Waiting until the vanguard of McDade's force was almost within touching distance, the Vietnamese sprung their trap at 13:15. Initial gunfire seemed disjointed, mimicking the shots of a few random skirmishers. But in mere moments, a deafening barrage ensued, echoing the attackers' synchronized onslaught.
Mortars too, that's fine.
At the moment the ambush unfolded, Captains Forrest, Thorpe, and Fez Meyer were meeting with Colonel McDade. While Fez Meyer and Thorpe remained with McDade amidst the commotion, Captain Forrest, sensing the urgency, dashed back to his unit. Tragically, his accompanying radio operators fell victim to enemy bullets, yet Forrest miraculously emerged unharmed. The central part of the American column, which was most vulnerable and unprepared, now found itself leaderless and scrambling for direction. The entire ambush was a picture of utter chaos for the Americans. From the Vietnamese end, the execution was seamless. Following the initial gunfire, Foy's mortars punctuated the assault, quickly followed by a fierce charge by his 8th Battalion soldiers. Many American soldiers were confounded, with some units like a platoon from Suk Dinnis's Alpha Company believing they were entirely lost. The ambush's success was epitomized by Suk Dinnis's grim assessment that his men had been annihilated or incapacitated. The center of McDade's column was in pandemonium. With the high grass obscuring vision, organized resistance rapidly collapsed. The intense proximity of the combat made the entire situation chaotic, with platoons and companies disintegrating, and individual soldiers desperately fending for themselves amidst the chaos. Battle formations dissolved, and the battleground became a frantic skirmish of individual soldiers fighting for survival. From his vantage point in the landing zone, Captain Fesmeyer recognized the dire situation facing Thorpe's Delta Company. Ordering Lieutenant Cornett's Charlie Company to come to their aid, tragedy ensued. Cornett's troops encountered stiff resistance, and Cornett himself was killed in action. Attempts to stabilize the situation by both companies Delta and Charlie were thwarted by intense enemy fire, internal disorientation, and even tragic friendly fire incidents. The initial overwhelming success of the ambush left many American soldiers disoriented and trapped. As Colonel Brown and Captain Tadamy tried to survey the situation from the air, the sheer scale of the chaos on the ground became evident. The disarray was so profound that they couldn't accurately discern the positions of McDade's beleaguered troops, making precise aerial and artillery support nearly impossible. The desperation was palpable, and the situation looked increasingly bleak. The battle's intensity persisted as the day waned, with relentless airstrikes and artillery fire failing to decisively break the North Vietnamese grip in the column's middle. Desperate.
I mean, look at all this stuff. The airstrikes, I mean, the heavy artillery, big guns and all that, and they just went through a massive battle at LZ Xray. And they were right at it again.
To safeguard the surviving perimeters, commanders resorted to blanketing the entire area with artillery, risking hitting their own men. As darkness settled, the brutal reality became clear. Isolated American soldiers, many injured or trapped, had to fend for themselves. Some had managed to form a makeshift defensive ring, while others, lost or incapacitated, awaited uncertain fates. To make the situation even more tragic, the North Vietnamese were executing stranded American soldiers in great numbers.
Why do we ride motorcycles?
Well, they're coming, boy. Oh, no buffalo, no commercial. No.
The lazy beauty of a calm.
In such harrowing conditions, hope emerged at dawn with the sound of familiar gunfire, indicating the arrival of friendly reinforcements. Yet, for many soldiers, the ordeal had taken its toll, both physically and mentally. Amidst the chaos created by the ambush, Alpha Company bore the brunt of the North Vietnamese assault, quickly losing their platoons to the encircling enemy. Outnumbered and outflanked, American forces displayed resilience. Despite the adversity, Payne's elite reconnaissance platoon held their ground at a strategic termite hill, while Sugdinis and his team fortified a neighboring hill. Colonel McDade's group fortified yet another. Their goal was to form a defensible triangle and create a central rallying point for the scattered troops. In a short span, Sugdinis and Lieutenant Gwynn consolidated a defense perimeter from the surviving soldiers, though it remained unsuitable for helicopter landings. Observing the North Vietnamese audaciously moving about, the Americans took the opportunity to eliminate dozens, realizing that the enemy was ruthlessly hunting their wounded comrades. This realization fueled their determination to keep fighting. As the combat continued, the paramount need for fire support grew evident. With Major Henry and Captain Fesmire's appeal, the A-1E Sky Raiders roared in from Pleiku. Despite the risk to potentially still-alive second platoon members, the commanders reluctantly agreed that the area outside the established defense perimeter was a free fire zone. The platoon's position was considered lost. The Sky Raiders' timely intervention at 14:15 was pivotal. Their strafing runs and napalm drops halted the North Vietnamese forces poised for another offensive. The devastating effects of the napalm, engulfing entire groups of the enemy, bolstered the beleaguered American spirits. For 2 relentless hours, the air support wreaked havoc on the enemy, allowing U.S. forces to regroup and fortify their position. Colonel McDade's challenging day culminated with a tactical recalibration. With a disrupted chain of command and the weight of responsibilities thrust upon him, he opted for a calm demeanor, understanding that panic would only exacerbate an already precarious situation. Colonel Brown, sensing the severity of the situation, moved swiftly to bolster McDade's battalion. The order for Diederik's Bravo Company, although diminished in numbers, was clear. Land, engage anything to your left and move right. Their rapid, unopposed insertion at 18:30 reinforced the American position at Albany, providing a much-needed boost in morale. By dusk, the scene had transformed. The wounded were evacuated, reinforcements bolstered defenses, and consistent artillery and aerial support ensured vigilance against any nocturnal enemy advances. McDade and his forces were poised and prepared for any oncoming assault. Elsewhere, Captain Forrest's company, positioned at the column's end, faced a lighter combat intensity. Forrest's leadership, particularly his determined return through a hail of bullets, galvanized his unit. Their sturdy defense deterred the North Vietnamese from persisting. Still, trapped by their lack of information and isolated from the main battalion, they could only stand their ground, awaiting rescue.
Aren't you tired of all those boring, endless videos?
Yeah,
Try something new. Check out this awesome game with an epic story.
As the shadows of conflict began to wane, reinforcement came forth. Bravo Company of the 1st Battalion of the 5th Cavalry, stationed at Landing Zone Columbus, was dispatched to join Forrest's forces in bolstering McDade's ranks. Navigating their way westwards, they clashed with the North Vietnamese but managed to establish a fortified perimeter by nightfall, thanks to the strategic leadership of Captains Tully and Forrest. By dawn, their path to Albany was clear. After the North Vietnamese soldiers withdrew from the scene, the gruesome aftermath of the battle unveiled itself. American soldiers began to retrieve their fallen comrades and assess enemy casualties. The heart-wrenching sight engraved in the minds of soldiers, who nicknamed the LZ Albany the Devil's Butcher Shop, a lingering testament to the war's brutality. In the subsequent days, a series of movements ensued. with McDade's shattered battalion eventually returning to Ankei base camp. And while Forrest's and Tully's companies faced one final skirmish at Columbus, it marked the end of the battle at Drang Valley. As the battle at LZ Albany dwindled, the ARVN-2 Corps Command took proactive steps to conclude the campaign, introducing the ARVN Airborne Brigade on November 17th. They established a new artillery base, LZ Crooks, which was fortified by the 2nd Battalion, 5th Cavalry. Intensive B-52 airstrikes continued for 2 subsequent days, targeting positions of the 66th, 33rd, and later the 32nd Regiments. The ARVN Airborne Brigade focused on the remaining battalions of the 320th Regiment, executing 2 strategic ambushes, one north and the other south of the LZ Drang River. By November 26th, after no additional contact with the enemy, the ARVN pulled back, marking the end of intense combat in the area. The LZ Drang campaign, being one of the most significant battles during the Vietnam War, produced varied casualty figures from both sides. A 1966 PAVN report from the Central Highlands Front claimed that during 5 major confrontations, their forces endured 559 deaths and 669 injuries. They estimated U.S. losses between 1,500 and 1,700 soldiers. Furthermore, the official PAVN history asserted the decimation of 1,700 U.S. and 1,270 ARVN soldiers, the downing of 59 helicopters, and the destruction of 89
shots. Dude, God dang, man.
vehicles during the campaign. In contrast, the U.S. military reported 305 fatalities and 524 injured, claiming 3,561 PAVN deaths and over 1,000 injured during skirmishes with the 1st Cavalry Division.
Boy, that's a bad deal there,
The
ain't
Battle of the LZ Drang Valley remains one of the most fiercely fought battles of the Vietnam War. It was a battle of tactics, willpower, and determination, where both sides faced immense challenges and paid a heavy price. It exemplified the deadly efficiency of the North Vietnamese and their indomitable spirit, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Simultaneously, it showcased the
man. I mean, them some guns won't quit coming. Like, I mean, we got to kill them. They won't quit.
tenacity, bravery, and adaptability of the American soldiers, who had to quickly learn and adapt to a new type of warfare in the dense jungles of Vietnam. The battles at the LZ Drang Valley became a significant lesson for both sides. For the Americans, it was a reality check about the unconventional warfare they were to encounter, emphasizing the importance of good intelligence, coordination, and adaptability in the challenging terrains of Vietnam. On the other side, the North Vietnamese learned about the immense firepower of the American forces, from their artillery to their air capabilities, which they would need to consider in their future strategies. The varied casualty figures and claims from both sides highlight the propaganda war's intensity, with both trying to portray a version that highlighted their strengths and achievements. But numbers and claims aside, the battles in the LZ Drang Valley serve as a somber reminder of the war's ferocity, the sacrifices made by the soldiers, and the lessons learned from such brutal confrontations. Today, the LZ Drang battles hold a significant place in the annals of military history, with its lessons being studied in military academies worldwide. It also reminds us of the human cost of war and the importance of understanding the nuances of the environment and the adversary, rather than relying solely on firepower or numbers. Thank you for watching this episode. Please like and subscribe to the Militology channel if you want to see more content.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is wrapping up, I guess, the LZ Drang Valley in Albany. That's a closed book done deal. That wasn't the video I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do another one tonight on something different, but I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way. Because a lot of people don't know about it, and I stumbled across it, and I thought it was kind of quick and decent info, I guess you'd say. But yeah, we're gonna be doing something different tonight. It should be a blast. Hey, Mama, what's going on there, T-John? So I shared a video with you, but I didn't tell you I was going live. I'm actually wrapping this drang Valley up. This was about the Battle of Albany, which happened 1 to 2 days later, right up the road. Like the same thing, if not worse. So I got the drang Valley and the all that kind of sealed up and done. I put a little work in back here doing this, and I'm gonna do going on guns ago tonight. It's a little longer. I thought this was pretty good content, being quick to the point, and it wasn't about 20 minutes. I've been on here 26 minutes and 6 seconds, so what's my sound like since you hear? Sound pretty good, decent? What? Sounds different when I talk in the front versus when I tilt it and I talk into the front and the top. So I'm talking in the front and the top right now. What does that sound like? And my voice always sounds like it falls. It falls off in my earphone. It's a weird sound. You won't hear it on the video, but I hear it. I hear it fall off in my headphones, so I got to add something more punch or something to it. But you can hear me, I guess, and understand what I'm saying, what's coming out of my mouth. It's hard to understand a full-blown redneck. Yeah, and I also commented on my subs and all on the channel coming up. Man, I'm really excited about all that. That was the first part of the video, so when I end this, just go back and watch the first of it. But yes, on the sound, huh? Probably sounds better this way versus if I was to go straight head to head with the mic like this. Now I'm straight dead into the mic. You know what I mean? I'm not at the top. I'm going dead in the face of it. What does that sound like? Does that sound any different? Or you can't really tell. Both are good. One better than another. I'll turn it back the way I had it. Sounds better for me like this. With a little bit of angle and tilt into it. Now we done broke into a sound check, boy. My crowd and crew gonna be pissed. What does it sound like this, Mama, versus that straightforward? What you like? Straight, tilt. Put that in. Straight, tilt. Yeah, sounds good. Either way, it sounds good to you, huh? Oh, good deal. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up and get on out of here. It's been a blast, fun. I'm coming back tonight. We're doing something longer, detailed. If y'all see this, maybe pop in. I don't know, maybe 6, 7 o'clock, latest. I want to kind of get it what you on now on my tilt. Yeah. It sounds better to me too. But yeah, come on in about 7 o'clock. We're gonna get deep into one. You're gonna have to have patience. But I'm not gonna we're not gonna do the whole life story and all that kind of stuff. We're just gonna do the I'm gonna get right down to the battle, to the full deal. And it's still long enough. Trust me. But it'd be a good one. So y'all come on in and see what's happening, what's going on. But yeah, I love you guys, man. Y'all stay safe out there. Do the best you can. Stay as positive as you can. That's all you can do nowadays, man, and pray for the best. Try to get some faith in your heart if you don't have none. It'll help you. It really will, man. And this is coming from a stomped down idiot. I mean, I used to be a fool. A fool. I mean, crazy. And still have the potential to be. But he keeps me at bay somehow. And only he can do it. Or I got a pure B side in me and I'll show it. But I don't want to do that no more. But look, I'm rambling, guys. I love you. Catch me tonight if you want to. If not, that's fine. But heck, sub and like and comment. It's free. And it means the world to me, man. You'll be helping an old poor boy out. All right, guys. Y'all stay safe. Be good. Love you. Doing the least crew. Bye.